Hello everyone, this is the Board Game Lawyer. Today I'm going to do another Marvel Champions playthrough video using the Marvel Champions Monthly Matchup Challenge. Now they've issued a 2-week challenge to the community, and this challenge they've entitled Doomed Artifacts. So I'm going to attempt this challenge yet again. They've given us the villain, as we can see on the table here, who is the Red Skull. And the encounter sets that they've selected for us is the Doomsday Chair and the Galactic Artifacts. So today I'm going to use my basic playmat using probably the most basic hero I can think of, Spider-Man, using an all-basic deck. So I just have hero cards and basic cards in my deck. And I'm doing this in the spirit of the most recent show that they put out featuring basic cards. So let's get started. So we begin with side 1A of The Rise of Red Skull, and it reads, Setup, put the red house into play. So we have the red house here. This is a side scheme. We put it into play. It reads that the Red Skull cannot take damage. Interrupt, when a character thwarts this side scheme, they may use their attack instead of their thwart. And it comes into play with 3 threat on it. So we've done the first part of the setup here. It says shuffle every other side scheme into the side scheme deck and set it next to the encounter deck. So we'll take all the rest of our side schemes here and we'll shuffle them up together. And we'll put them next to our encounter deck, which, too, we'll go ahead and just shuffle it quickly. I shuffled it quite a bit already, but we'll just go ahead and give it a nice little shuffle there. And while we're shuffling cards, I'll go ahead and do the hero deck as well. And give that a shuffle. Okay. And then after all that is done, it says set the sleeper aside out of play. So here we have the sleeper. And we're going to set him aside out of play for now. So that will complete side 1A of The Rise of Red Skull. We'll flip over to side 1B, and it reads, Forced Response. After resolving step 1 of the villain phase, reveal the top card of the side scheme deck and put it into play. So The Rise of Red Skull starts without any threat on it. Red Skull's ability says that he gets +1 attack for each side scheme in play, and that he begins with 12 hit points. And he gets +1 then for each side scheme. So right now he's sitting at a +1. So Red Skull's all set up. Peter Parker, Spider-Man, is our hero that we're going to use. His alter ego side says resource, generate a mental resource. And he starts with 10 hit points and a hand size of 6. So we'll go ahead and draw our 6 cards to start our game. So we've drawn Heimdall, Lockjaw, a Spider Tracer, Enhanced Spider Sense, another Spider Tracer, and a Swinging Web Kick. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to discard 5 cards to mulligan for another additional 5 cards. I'm going to keep that Swinging Web Kick for now. And we'll draw the Black Cat. We'll draw a Web Shooter. We'll draw Hit and Run. To the rescue, and another Swinging Web Kick. So we have 2 Swinging web Kicks, a Hit and Run, Web Shooter, and the Black Cat. So I think we'll play the Black Cat first. We'll spend our Hit and Run and To the Rescue card to put Black Cat out. And her ability states that after you play Black Cat, discard the top 2 cards of your deck. Add each card with a printed mental resource discarded this way to your hand. So our first card that we'll draw is the Power in All of Us. It's not a printed mental resource, so that's not going to do us any good. But we did get the Genius. Okay, very nice. So I think what we'll do then is we will use Peter Parker's mental resource to put out the Web Shooter. Okay. And then we will, when we put the Web Shooter out, we need to put 3 web counters on the Web Shooter. Because the ability says Hero Resource, exhaust Web Shooter and remove 1 web counter from it. So it generates a resource for us on our hero turn. So I think what we'll do then is we're going to flip Peter Parker over to his Spider-Man side, Now his Spider-Man ability says interrupt when a villain initiates attack against you, draw one card. So considering that we can use our attack to thwart the red house, we're going to begin with Spider-Man's 2 attack, and we're going to remove 2 threat from the red house. And then Black Cat, she doesn't take any consequential damage, so we're going to use her 1 attack to attack the red house. So that gets rid of that threat, and that will remove the red house to the discard pile. Okay, so we've got that web shooter in hand on the table. We've got a genius and a swinging web kick. So I think what we'll do is we'll spend 1 of these web counters as well as 2 resources from genius to play a swinging web kick to do 8 damage onto the red skull. So we'll go ahead and put 8 damage on the red skull. That'll take him down to 4. Okay, and we'll just keep that swinging web kick in our hand, I think, for now. So we'll ready the Black Cat. We'll ready Spider-Man. We'll ready the web shooter. And we'll draw up our hand size of 5 now. So we have the swinging web kick, we have blade, we have a haymaker, webbed up, and Spider-Man. Okay. So we'll begin the Red Skull's turn. We'll place 1 threat on the rise of Red Skull. Red Skull, let's see, the forced response says, after resolving step 1 of the villain phase, reveal a top card of the side scheme deck and put it into play. Let's see what we get. And we've got, I dropped it, Mass Chaos. So this reads, each player discards the top 5 cards of their deck and places 1 threat here for each different type of resource icon they discarded this way. So the top 5 cards is the Avengers Mansion, Hit and Run, Webbed Up, Nick Fury, and a Strength card. Boy, that's a nice hand to discard. But we have 3 different types of resources there, so we put 3 threat on Mass Chaos. And Red Skull is now going to attack Spider-Man. Remember, he gets +1 for that Mass Chaos side scheme card, so we're going to draw our boost. And it says give Red Skull a tough status card. So Red Skull is going to be tough. And it has 1 boost on here. So 1, 2, 3 attack on Spider-Man. Takes him down to 7. And I also got to draw a card whenever he attacked me, so I'm going to draw a Haymaker. Okay. Then we draw the encounter card, which reads, Master Strategist. Attached to Red Skull. When Red Skull activates, give him an additional boost card for each side scheme in play. Then discard this card, max once per activation. So he's going to be a Master Strategist. And that will end the Red Skull's turn. So now it's Spider-Man's turn. We've got Black Cat on the table. I think what we're going to do is we are going to Mass Chaos. We can't take any threat off of the main scheme. We can put, I think this is what we're going to do. We're going to attack with Black Cat to knock that tough card off of Red Skull. We will attack with Spider-Man to knock Red Skull down to 2 health. We'll bring Blade out onto the table. Blade's ability says force response after Blade thwarts or attacks. Choose to either spend a fist resource from your hand or discard Blade. So we're going to spend that one resource, the web shooter, to put him out. And let's see, we got the swinging web kick. We do have an additional fist resource if we want to use it. So I think I will. We're going to do webbed up, use our webbed up card to attack with blade, which will knock Red Skull down to 0. So we've defeated level 1 Red Skull. That'll flip him to the level 2 Red Skull. And when this comes out, he reads, when revealed, deal each player an encounter card. So we got 1 encounter card, and he lost those 2 health from blade. And so whenever he comes out with his new health, he starts out with 16. So we do have a swinging web kick. I think we're going to take advantage of that while we can. We're going to do 8 damage to the Red Skull, spending these 3 resources to do so. So, Red Skull. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. He's down to 8 health. We will remain. I think we will, let's flip. Let's flip to our alter ego side. And so we'll ready our web shooter. We'll ready Peter Parker. Ready the Black Cat. Ready blade. And we will draw 6 cards. So we have another swinging web kick. We have endurance, to the rescue, the web shooter, Cosmo, and the power in all of us. So that's our hand for our next turn. So Red Skull is going to take his turn. He's first going to put 1 threat on the main scheme. Then we're going to draw that side scheme from the side scheme deck, which is Hydra Recruitments. When defeated, the player who defeated this scheme discards a non-elite minion. So that comes into play with 2 threat on it. It's looking dangerous. So again, we got Mastered Strategist. When Red Skull activates, give him an additional boost card for each side scheme in play, then discard this card. So Red Skull is going to scheme against the Rise of Red Skull. So we're going to draw 1 card, which is a 0. And then he gets to draw an additional boost card for each side scheme in play. So 2 more boost cards. So he draws MODOK, which is a 2. And he draws an Assault, which is a 0. So far it's 2. And 3. So that's 5. 5 total gets placed on the Rise of Red Skull. That brings our threat up to 7. If we hit 8, we've completed it. So we have, now we go to our encounter cards. We see we have an additional encounter card we're going to have to deal with. So we've got 1 from before, 1 from now, and then 1 additional. So we have 3 encounter cards to deal with on this turn. So our first encounter card reads, Biomechanical Upgrade. Attached to the minion with the highest printed points and without another biomechanical upgrade attached to it. I don't have a minion on the table, and so it's going to surge anyway. So we'll draw another card. Assault. If I'm in alter ego form, it's going to gain surge. So I draw another card. Attached to your identity, when your turn begins, place 1 poison counter here, then take 1 damage for each poison counter. Hero action. Spend 3 different types of resources to discard this card. So we've got some poison on Peter Parker. Our next encounter card is Shadow of the Past. Reveal your set-aside Nemesis minion and put it into play engaged with you. And also his side scheme. So we have the Vulture who's going to pop out. He has a quick strike. After this minion engages your hero, it attacks. In Highway Robbery, which says, when revealed, each player places a random card from their hand face down here. When defeated, return each face down card here to its owner's hand. So Shadows of the Past. And I have to shuffle in the rest of these encounter cards that got also brought out from Shadows of the Past. Vulture is going to Quick Strike. No one, because I'm in Peter Parker form. And Highway Robbery says, when revealed, that I have to place a random card from my hand face down there. So I'll let you pick. Okay, which one? This one? Okay. And it's the power in all of us. So each player places a random card from their hand face down here. So that's going to go underneath Highway Robbery. It comes into play with 3 threat on it. And then our final encounter card, hopefully for this turn, is attached to Red Skull. Red Skull gains Retaliate 1. So this attachment left, and this one got added. So that's the end of Red Skull's turn. Now Peter Parker, I have a Force Center up here. When my turn begins, I place 1 poison counter here, and then take 1 damage for each poison counter. So Peter Parker is going to take 1 damage, and I can spend resources to get rid of it. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and flip to my Spider-Man side, because now we're in hero form. I can spend 3 resources to play that Swinging Web Kick, which does 8 damage to the Red Skull. And that will take him all the way down to 0. So, in this challenge, Spider-Man Basic has defeated the Red Skull. So again, I'd like to thank the Marvel Champions podcast crew, Marvel Champions monthly podcast crew, for issuing this challenge. If you'd like to attempt this challenge, I'm sure they'd love to hear your results, so make sure that you log those in on their wherever they have posted their spreadsheet. For those who are watching, if you'd like to contact me, I'm the Board Game Lawyer. You can shoot me an email at boardgamelawyer@gmail.com. I'd like to thank you for watching today, and I hope to be able to bring you another video again next week.